And about his personality, did you catch something?
No, no. But then, long after that, I listened to an interview, the only actual sound interview by Twombly. It was on a very small site. I don't think it's available any longer. He was visiting the Menil collection in Houston. They have a whole Twombly gallery, and he was visiting that gallery, and he was commenting on the way the paintings were hung and what they looked like. And it was an hour-long interview, and he sounded like someone, very dreamy, very calm, very slow-moving, very zen. And from what I read, that's what he was. I mean, he was completely detached from any financial, economical or any market preoccupations. He was really the artist in his own bubble, and from what I got, that's. But I remember when I met Twombly. I mean, I didn't really meet him. I was with someone who was meeting him. So I mean, I don't even think he paid attention to me. But I was just looking around. It was crazy what he had. He had. Because he had a private collection to Twombly of artists. He had works by Warhol, by Richter, so the whole apartment was a museum, not only of his works. I mean, he had
He was himself buying then too, right?
I'm sorry.
He was buying himself. He was buying art as
I
well.
think he was trading. I think Warhol, for instance, traded with him. He would ask, "Can you give me that work, and I'll give you mine," and so on.
Very
I think that's what
interesting.
he would do. Yeah. So and he was a very sharp. He had a very sharp eye. I mean, what he had. I mean, he had a very tough Warhol. I remember from the tuna. There's a series by Andy Warhol that he painted about a tuna fish disaster. Two women who ate tuna from a can, and they died because the tuna was poisoned or something. And Warhol did a series on that because he did a series of the headlines, the newspaper headlines telling of that story, and that was one of the series. So it's a pretty tough Warhol he had. Anyway,
Can we say that? Can we say that he was an outsider artist a bit?
Twombly?
Hmm.
I wouldn't say that. No.
Okay.
No,
So.
I mean, Twombly in the '60s was an outsider, yes.
Okay.
But because he left New York and went to Europe, which nobody did at the time, you would do the opposite, usually.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there is Leo Castelli, the dealer.
Yes.
So Leo Castelli was Twombly's dealer in the beginning in the '60s in New York. And he had a director whose name was Ivan Karp, I think, who was the actual real eye of the gallery, because Castelli was the show window. Everybody knows Castelli, but behind Castelli there was his director, who was Ivan Karp. And Ivan Karp used to have a picture of one of Twombly's paintings glued to his agenda, and much later he would say that Twombly was his favorite artist, that the only problem that they couldn't sell anything because nobody was buying anything. So, but he thought that Twombly was the best of the whole lot, from Liechtenstein, Jasper Jones, Rauschenberg. So he had an actual painting by Twombly on his agenda, glued to it. So he was an outsider because Castelli couldn't sell anything. So basically that was it. Huh? And so also because we went to Europe, and the Americans, they first and foremost they buy American artists. So
that's right. So there are lots of questions. Do you feel artwork carries a transmission of the artist, that art is beyond time and space? Probably you will say yes.
Well, yes, by definition, good art is beyond time and space. It stays. See, as a collector, there's a cliche that everybody will tell you, that we're not the owners of the work, but only the custodians, the guardians, which is a cliche because everybody says that. The truth is that, yes, these works are here to stay, and we're not here to stay. stay. So yeah, it's beyond time and space, beyond
Exactly.
time especially.
What is your favorite museum to visit anywhere in the world?
My favorite museum, oh, there are many.
There
Uh,
are many.
there are many, but my favorite museum is the one I haven't visited yet. So, so, yeah, there's one that I'd love to visit, the Louisiana Museum in Denmark, for instance. Uh,
Uh-huh. Uh, Regarding buying contemporary art, do take the current socio-economical and political situation into account when you buy? Do you take
well, yes, I do.
that?
Maybe I shouldn't say that because it's a secret, but usually in terms of crisis, it's a very good time to buy
Right. I
because
mean, as an economist,
you have
I
less
always say that. Hmm.
you have less competition, and it is obvious right now. For instance, if you have the means to um, to buy, it's a very good time to buy. Yeah, really, you can get works that you wouldn't be able to get because in normal times, people. I mean, you always find someone richer than you are, or who's willing to spend for art. Right now, it's not the case. So, if you know your way around, you can
Yeah.
get works that maybe you wouldn't get otherwise.
Yeah, we know that during the difficult period during crisis, art speculations decrease. Speculators are gone when they know that there is a liquidity problem. Um, so I try to see the questions. I think. Do you think Gaston is a political artist? Uh,
Yes, of course he is. Yeah, but you see, you've seen this recently. I mean, there's.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
how do you feel about the cancellation of this his exhibition? There was another question on top.
well, I've published a
Not a
few things.
cancellation. They will. I think they will. That will happen, right?
Yes, it's not cancelled. It's postponed to
Yeah.
2022.
Mhm.
I think it was a very unfortunate situation, um, and I completely agree with what one of the curators said, that it was, a very unfortunate and a sad decision, because that means that basically you are considering that the audience is not intelligent and clever enough to accept controversial art. So that's a pretty elitist and wrong decision. I mean, I've published a few things on Instagram, so I won't go beyond that. And but I mean, it's good that they initially they had postponed it till 2024. I mean, which was
Oh,
tantamount to canceling it. So
yeah.
now they said 2022. So the only excuse I can give them, and it is a valid point, they may have been, but I'm not sure. I don't know I'm not privy to the actual ongoings in the museums, but there may have been issues in terms of insuring the
Mhm.
works. So maybe that was an issue.
Mhm.
Other than that, I was really saddened by the decision. Yes, because it was a very much expected exhibition. Everybody was expecting it, was looking after it, and it was coming. It was coming in a exactly at the right moment. I mean, it was. I don't know if you know, but Guston did a whole series on Nixon in the early 70s. And I
Mhm.
mean, it was that series on Nixon was really it came back as a topical
Mm.
series, considering the current situation. Really, it was and also the hood paintings.
Yes.
The hood
Yes.
paintings are really. I mean, they would have created a whole discussion. Not only among artists, but among the public, the audience. That was really the right time to do that. So, but okay,
Exactly.
they decided otherwise. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
not much we
There is a question. Have you been to Nikola in Gaitaya?
To whom? I'm sorry.
To Nicola in Gaeta. It's a question of.
To Nicola del Rosso.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had that pleasure, unfortunately, but I would love to. Yeah.
Okay. So a question from one of my students. What do you think about Artcoin?
Art
Do you
what? I'm
believe
sorry.
Artcoin, digital art money?
I'm not familiar with that, I'm afraid.
And how about digital art? We haven't discussed about that, but I think it is your distance to this part of art, this type of art.
I don't collect that, but I understand that it's a valid form. I mean, who am I to judge? But yes, I understand that people might collect that kind of art, and it's probably the future of art. Yes, it has to do with technology and what's going on. Yes, I totally respect that. But maybe I'm too late for that, or too old, or whatever. But I'm not really drawn to that, and I probably should study more.
There's a question: is your collection insured? I guess so.
Well, yes, it has to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you know.
Another question: why did you move to London in times of the Brexit?
Well, that's a personal question. You know, you have personal issues in your life, and I like London. I think London is a fantastic city. So there are lots to be done.
Yeah.
Whenever you think of Brexit, it's still a fantastic city. So that, that
Brexit
would
is
be
a
my
tough
answer.
issue, and I always thought that maybe it is reversible, but no.
Probably not, but you know, it is still a great city to live in, and
Yes, artistically,
yeah,
yeah.
and,
We had the owner of Unit London with us a couple of weeks ago here.
that's good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's a very successful gallery. Do you know that gallery? Are you familiar with
Yes.
their?
Yeah. But London has very, you know, the scene is London is very active. There are young galleries who are starting now or have started over the last 5 years, and it's a very active scene. So, you know, Brexit is certainly not great on many aspects, but, you know, what can we do about it? So it's still one of the 2 or 3 main art hubs in the world. So, and this was not, I don't think this will change. Some, you know, pace is coming. Pace is well, they're already here, but they're building a new space, which is a fantastic space. So you know, the scene is really it's
They're
still a
gonna do the same thing as they've done in New York City, that like
yeah.
kind of digital
Yeah.
art.
So, and if you, I
Yeah.
mean, the Gaussian spaces here are great. You really have it's one of the main art hubs, and still will be for a long time.
Yeah.
That's my
Um, they say, is there any way to get in touch with you? I think you can follow Mr.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram if you.
From Instagram to Instagram.
You're,
I had a question. I wanted to bring the topic to that at some point. It's the presentation of art with music, and what do you think to that? And what do you think to insert Feldman's music, which is composed for Philip Gaston? What do you think to have this in this upcoming retrospective? Do you think there is room for that? And art and music
music,
collaborate?
by definition, is not a visual art. Um, so, I mean, yes, you can. If you look at Kandinsky, for instance, or Klee, I mean, they both were very linked to music. Kandinsky gave most of his works musical titles, and he linked color to music. So yes, I mean, it's not something that has never been done. In my opinion, we're dealing with a visual art, and it should be a visual art. So music as a accessory to an exhibition, I'm kind of it doesn't add anything to me. That's what I'm saying. So if they link I mean, it's Gaston, for instance. If you're alluding to his relationship with Morton Feldman, you can see the difference between both. Feldman went along until a certain point, and then they diverged. So I don't think you can really solidly link visual art to a totally abstract and non-visual art as music. I mean, you can do it the way Kandinsky did it, but it's still a sort of artificial way to do it. Composition 10, okay, but it's not music. You don't hear anything. And then if you listen to, I don't know, to Feldman, you don't see anything. You hear. So that's, I mean, there are two different types of art. That's my, humble opinion. Again, who am I to judge? Why not? But
there are some tentatives, and I think it's exciting to walk with the friendship of two different artists from two different fields, and that may attract different audiences. I'm talking about Gaston retrospective and having a
it was done, it's been done before. Rauschenberg did backgrounds, did scenery for John Cage and John Cage's dancing shows. So you had there's a famous work by Rauschenberg called, okay, I forgot the title. I can't visually see it. It would choose to be a backdrop for a scene of a John Cage dance show. So it's been done before, even though dance is a visual art. It's not, it's not like music. So, but yeah, why not? I'm not. This would not be for me an extra asset to the show. It wouldn't add anything. But I would understand that someone would do it. Yeah.
Another question: do you think Twombly was inspired by Beuys?
By who?
By Beuys, Joseph Beuys.
Inspired, I wouldn't say so, but yes, there is a link, yeah. Especially in his sculptures, in Twombly's sculptures, you can see Beuys, yeah. So I don't know if, I'm not sure they had any relationship. I think they knew each other personally. So there is, especially in the sculptures, obviously a link with Beuys, yeah.
And is there any retrospective show of an artist that you regret that has been created?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yeah, just let me read exactly. Is there an artist that you would like to see that has never been created in a retrospective? Sorry, that's the correct question.
Let me think. That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I've never been to a Robert Ryman show. I've never been to a Robert Ryman retrospective. I know there was one in 1994, I think, at MoMA, because I have the book. But I have never been to there was one at DIA outside New York, but I missed it. So yes, that's one artist that I know a lot about, but I've never been to an actual retrospective of Robert Ryman, and that's something I really miss.
Okay. What do you think about Gaston's interest in Piero della Francesca?
Well, there's not much to think about. It's an official and known source of his art. The only comment I would make is that this vindicates my earlier comment that if you're a good artist, you have a deep knowledge of art history. If you do not have that deep knowledge, chances are that you're not that good an artist. That's how I would answer.
Okay. I think I asked all the questions, but there's maybe one from Özge. It's a long question. I want to ask you. You mentioned you were working with. No, you were not working with advisors, right? Right. You advise people. You advise.
I'm advising myself, and I'm my biggest client actually myself.
You like that because you enjoy doing that, or it's question of trust as well?
No, I enjoy doing it, and I think I have the. I
You
mean,
have the time.
maybe it's pretentious to say that, but I think I'm knowledgeable enough at this point not to need an art advisor. But then an art advisor, if he's a good art advisor, and I know a couple, he may be very helpful in other ways. That is, for instance, he may be able to check the condition of a work in ways that you're not able to, because he has access to to the actual owner, and to he may have information that you don't have. So I'm open to using. I'm not using any because I never felt the need to. But if I do feel the need
Mhm.
to use one, I would use one, and I would know where to go. Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful, wonderful talk. We learned a lot. You know, I hope we will see this great Gaston retrospective soon. Maybe we will meet at the opening. Who knows? Take care and keep in touch. Thank you very much for all our listeners. It was a long, maybe one of the longest art talk we have ever had
Wow.
within this
Sorry about that.
art course. Thank you, and
Yeah, thank you.
uh, take care of yourself. Be aware of this virus, and hope to see you in in flesh in an art fair or an exhibition.
With pleasure.
Okay, so that concludes our recording and also our chat. Okay, I thank you everyone, all my students, for this great opportunity. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.